Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
All right, my peoples. Listen, welcome to another edition of DBDS Live. I'm your host, Jamal Lawrence, author and relationship advisor, and I'm here with my partner, my brother, the accountability coach, Mr. Facts Over Feelings, my brother Carl. And listen, we are live on Facebook Live, on YouTube, Twitch. So I just want to thank you all for joining us on this gorgeous evening. And to those who are watching on YouTube, as always, make sure, and I repeat, make sure you hit that subscription button if you want to be a part of the family so you can soak in all this knowledge. And also you'll be notified when our show appears, so that way you can see our amazing guests. Also, just to let you know, be on the lookout, our website, dearbrothersdearsisters.com. This is the official site when it comes to healthy monogamous relationships. So if you're looking for courses to take advantage of, incredible advices from professionals, one-on-one coaching sessions, amazing books and articles you like to read, it is all available on our site. So make sure you check it out. And listen, this hot weather, I know in our neck of the woods, Carl, has been like almost 90 degrees, my brother, so I know you're staying hydrated. So, I mean, you always handling your business, man. How do you continue to handle your business when the weather is this scorching hot? I mean, how do you do it, my man?
I tell you, like you said, lots of fluids, and then I like I said, I stay in the gym side, body regulated, from the health side on that. Just try to get my rest, but it doesn't bother too much. I mean, it just depends on where you're at, because I've been in 112 degree heat, and it really was just, but it wasn't bothering me. But then I've been in 95 degree heat, and because it's humid, it's worse, because you're like, oh man, you're just sweating. But yeah, man, we got, like I said again, it's an in-game goal for me, so I got to keep making it move. I said, don't matter the heat, I gotta get through it.
Man, and listen, this is what again, it just shows that what I love about you, man, is that you're so passionate about your purpose. You can accomplish anything in life, no matter if it's hot degree weather, no matter if it's a storm out there. I respect you, brother, because you are living your truth. You're not letting nothing stop you. You don't make excuses in order to continue to do what you're designed to do, your purpose. And that's what the DBDS family is all about. That's what our platform is about. Every Sunday, we are passionate to help our people, give you advice on how to become better version of yourself, so you can have these healthy nuggets and hopefully get into a healthy relationship that would eventually lead to marriage. So that's what it's all about. We're not trying to pander to the man. I'm not trying to pander to the woman, because we truly feel that we need each other. That's what we created, not to be miserable for the rest of our lives. So listen, I'm going to bring up the topic for today's show, Carl. I think it's going to be very entertaining as well as educational. Today's topic is, what are you willing to change to have your ideal relationship? What you think about this topic, man?
Yeah, I'll say this real quick. Yeah, for me, this topic is going to be an eye opener, I think, for some people, because again, some subtopics we'll deal with, but everybody, sometimes we get stuck dating the same person in a different body because we don't see outside of doing something different. And so, like I said, I think, like I said, sometimes we have to, we got to look at things from a different perspective sometimes. Why, if you're not having dating success, when you take a look at your list of demands, or or take a look in the mirror, make sure it's not you. But that's where, like I said, what are you willing to change to be that? And like I said, it's not about being foolish and just accepting trash from people, Right. Definitely. We're not telling you that. I just want to clear that air right now. It's not about that, but it's being in a position to find someone who's compatible with you. And there may be some things you need to tweak so you can get that compatible partner.
Very well said, man. You know what? I love how you stated that, because before we bring our guests into the studio and we was talking offline, you know, I tell people I'm such an avid reader, man. Like, one of my favorite coaches that influenced me is Corey Wayne. You know, if you guys don't know him, look him up. An amazing coach, male coach. And one thing he said about, which resonated with me, is that you don't get everything in life you deserve. You get everything in life that you negotiate. You have to constantly negotiate who you are. You know, you're constantly having transactions every day, selling who you are, your core values, and so forth. So you always, nothing to just hand it to you on a silver platter, you know. And I think, you know, just hearing that, I used to hear that trend, like, you get what you deserve. I'm like, no, like, you really have to be your authentic self. And I think those are the ones that normally end up with a healthy monogamous relationship. So, I mean, shout out to Courtney Wayne, by the way. So, listen, before we bring our guests into the studio, man, I just want to thank you all. We're not going to have a show next Sunday, so I just want y'all to be aware of that. But don't worry, DBDS will be live, and we will keep everyone notified about that. And just as Carl stated, this topic is going to be good, because if you keep on having all of these bad relationships or unsuccessful relationships, if you keep on going after the baby daddy that has like 8 different baby mamas or something of that nature, or if you keep on going after the woman who is more concerned with what you bring instead of who you are as a person, then I think the show's going to be very, very valuable for you. All right. So, Carl, are you ready to bring our guests into the studio?
Yes, sir. Let's bring them in.
All right, man. Class in session, man. So, listen, I am ecstatic about this first person coming to the studio. It's her first time on. And I had to reach out to her, man, because the way she breaks down the dynamics of feminine energy and masculine energy and her teachings is so inspiring. So I want to bring forth my sister, first time on the show, coming into the DBDS Live, my great sister, Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It is such a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. We're honored to have you on the show. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
Absolutely. So obviously I'm Sri Namaste Moore. I am originally from New York. I'm hearing some back east accents in the room. But I'm currently, I've been in Texas. I've been all over the United States, but I've been in Texas for about 2 decades now, a little over 2 decades. I always say I came here to meet my beloved. I met him literally about a week after I got here, and we've been together ever since. And so, and why I'm here is because I love my job. My purpose, if you will, is to return the masculine to men, the feminine to women, and men and women to each other, to create these legendary loves and luxury lifestyles, doing their purpose and just having the best life ever. And so when I found out about DBDS and all that you guys are doing, and you were so generous and gracious to invite me, I had to say absolutely yes, because I love to support relationships in any way I possibly can. So I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, and I am an author, even though I've been in other people's books, but not my
own. Oh man, well, it's great to have you on the show. I mean,
thank you.
I love how you stated balance. First of all, I want to thank you for everything that you are doing to help the brothers and sisters out there. And the key word that just resonated what you stated is balance. I feel like everything is kind of going reverse, or it's going upside down. I feel like the North Pole is reverting to the South Pole, and the South Pole reverting to the North, and everything is like chaotic in a way. And the way that you just breaking things down, I think that's simply amazing, you know.
Thank you.
And don't worry, Carl is going to be right back, you know. Internet connection. So listen, next coming into the DBDS Live studio, My sister, she is not only a great friend, but she's been supportive of our platform since day one. And I consider her an amazing leader. She's also inspirational. I want to welcome back my sister, Latoya, to the DBDS Live studio.
Hi. Your intros about me always warms my heart. Thank you.
Listen, when you speak from the heart, it just comes out flowing. It does not matter. So thank you for appearing again. So tell the people, we see some new people coming to the studio, a little bit about yourself, where you from, and why you on the show today.
Sure. My name is Latoya Watson. I am from Connecticut. That might be changing soon. And so I am a licensed therapist. I'm also a wellness consultant, and I love speaking on healthy relationships. So thank you for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is ours. Thank you for coming back. You know, uh, no matter where you go to, Connecticut will always be your stomping grounds. It will always be yours. So congratulations on the move, by the way.
Thank
And
you.
greatly appreciate you always being supportive of us from day one. So the first subtopic that I like to touch on pertaining to this amazing topic today is your willingness to compromise. I think if people are willing to change to have that ideal relationship, this could be a great start, you know.
Mm.
And my thing is that when you have this as your mindset, I think it brings forth the level that can help you gravitate towards a healthy relationship.
Mm.
Because best believe if you have that entitlement mindset, or you're so used to always getting your way, like always,
Mm.
then I think those particular relationships create negative friction. Because when there's no pure balance, as me and Namaste were just talking about, then one person is more like selfish and the other one is selfless. And I believe that combination within itself will birth resentment and possibly passive aggressive behavior, maybe aggressive behavior. And you don't want to be in a relationship or feel like you're the person that is always being dominant or supreme, because it's no longer a relationship, it's a dictatorship. And so if you're willing to compromise, then I think this will help you to understand your partner's point of view. And while I'll say both of you are coming from different perspectives, no one perspective is more important than the others, especially when you're compromising from a place of love. So Namaste, how does compromising benefits an individual who, desires a healthy relationship?
Compromise is an interesting word for me, because originally the word meant to agree to abide by the decision of an arbitrator. So, by definition, the term holds within it this idea that we are on opposite sides and we need a mediator to kind of settle things between us. And what I like is more of an approach where it's never me against you, it's always you and I against the issue. So, what is the issue that we are facing at this moment? You have your perspective, I have my perspective, because we see things differently. That's the way we're made. That's like our superpowers, that we see things differently. And so, if I respect the way you see it and you respect the way I see it, then let's put our heads together and find a solution that feels good for both of us. As opposed to a lot of times when people are talking about compromising, it feels like, how much of what you want are you willing to not have? And that just doesn't tend to feel really good. It's like, well, gosh, who wants that? But I think if you're looking at it through the lens of how do we solve this puzzle that's in front of us in a way that we both are on the same team solving a problem like a team, I think that seems to work a lot better. So, I tend to go more in that direction than using the term itself, compromise.
Okay, I love that. Very well said. Yeah, and very well said, Namaste. And I like what you stated. And may I add that even though that word have so many different meanings, you know, when you compromise, not only that you're able to maintain your values and beliefs, but also your significant partner as well, as vice versa. And I don't think anyone should give up any aspect of themselves or their core values. So
Exactly.
Latoya, I've communicated with so many people who find it challenging to find a solution that blends together, or one that can come towards common ground that benefits both individuals. And most of the time, they end up in short-term relationships. So,
Mm-hmm.
to those who are willing to change their mindset, how does this compromising within a relationship can benefit them moving forward?
Yeah, so I'm single and that wasn't really a plug. I just I should have I needed to say that.
Put it out there.
It's so funny.
I needed to say that because I needed to say that because my lens is different, as
Gotcha.
a single person versus married. And so I really want to speak from that perspective for those of you who are watching and are not married yet, or even if you're in a relationship and just dating. Compromising definitely will look different when you're getting to know someone, when you're exclusive versus in a relationship or married. And
Mhm.
so that's coming up for me. And I think, and I don't know if we'll have time to talk about what's healthy at each stage, because
Mm-hmm.
what I'm willing to
Yeah.
compromise, getting to know someone will look very different from when we're married. I'm willing
Mm.
to be more, like Namaste said, working as a team. But before we get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
things, yeah, it will look different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So let me give a concrete example. Um, and I've never been married before, but I'm thinking in marriages, you may compromise. I'll say something simple like date nights. You may both have
Right.
busy schedules. And so compromising something that works for both of you. When you are getting to know someone, I think that can be a little bit more challenging to
Mm-hmm.
compromise. And
Mm-hmm.
men and women don't want to feel like, oh, this person is trying to come off or take advantage or try to finesse or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to open up, I think, the conversation with
Mm-hmm.
making that point. I think compromising
Mm-hmm.
look very different at each stage.
Absolutely.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah.
That's very true, because, and we're going to touch on that, because I feel this is why I mentioned compromise from a place of love,
Mm-hmm.
because I will never vouch for anyone to compromise their authentic self or their core
Mm-hmm.
values just to
Mm-hmm.
get somebody's validation or to try to get someone to commit to them.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not a no so. But no relationship is going to be 100% rosy and petals for the rest of your life. There are going to be issues that you have to come across, and both have to figure out a middle ground that benefits both
Mm-hmm.
parties. Because
Mm-hmm.
if it's only one way and they're not compromising, best believe that relationship is going to be quicksand. It's going to collapse. It's not going to have that strong foundation to realize that, hey, I can talk to my partner, understand their point of view. I may not agree, but I can understand their point of view and respect them, and still vice
Mm-hmm.
versa.
Mm-hmm.
Carl, I'm coming to you. From a man's perspective, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of what Namaste said, and even what Latoya said. Because see, for me, I can speak from an aspect of someone who was married for 20 years, and
Mm,
then for someone who's single, and then was single for a while. So you go through this aspect of, hey, what am I willing to compromise on? And I think that's a big struggle for a lot of people, um, because feel like, and you said it too, Mel, if people feel like you're taking advantage of them. If I have to, if I don't think I want, I feel like I'm losing. Maybe not me taken advantage of, but if there's if I have
Mm-hmm.
100% of things I want and I can't get it, then I feel like I'm losing. When really you're
Mm-hmm.
not. We don't ever get 100% of what we want, and I think that's why a lot of times marriages fail, because when people get into the marriage, they feel like, oh well, I thought I had everything I wanted. This person was everything. God told me this person was everything, and then they decide, no, well, he wants me to get out the relationship, and that's
oh
part of
man.
this issue where you're thinking, well, they use God both ways. So I'm just trying to figure out which way they're lying
Mm-hmm.
on, but that's another topic. Um,
Oh,
but you don't ever get anything that you desire. You don't. You're going to, you know what I'm saying? So what are you willing? So again, what are you willing to compromise on in this situation? What do if you're a woman and you're used to dating white collar workers, would you date a blue collar worker? If you're a man who's used to dating women who work in a particular field or look a certain way, like for me, like I always talk about, I always dated women who were like 5'2" and under. It's just what happened. But I learned to say, you know what, I gotta I'm being open. I'm compromising in a way and saying I'm open to any height. You know what I'm saying? So that's a compromise. If she's fitting the characteristics and the values, she's got those core values and things of that nature. But I think a lot of people don't want to do those things. Am I going to compromise because this person works a certain amount of hours, or do I need somebody who has to be on me 24/7, or am I willing to compromise with someone who's going to be working, but makes time for me? Fit their schedule. It's just not. I'm not getting quantity time. I'm getting quality time. Can I to that? Can I compromise? Am I willing to compromise? Some people say, well, I'm only going to marry somebody if they got both parents at home. Are you willing to compromise if they were raised by their dad or just their mom? You know what I'm saying? So those are things I think people need to really look at, why they may be still be in the same predicament and same situations. Are you not finding the people you want because you're looking for the same thing all the time? And if it's not working, the only common denominator is yourself. I will always say that. You common denominator. So what is it that you're not willing to compromise for? And again, I'm not talking core values. I'm not talking about characteristics. There's a baseline to. I'm not telling nobody ever do that. I'm not telling nobody to take the trash, the riffraff. Leave them alone. Men and women, just leave them alone. But quality people, are you on a quality person because you're not willing to compromise on certain, and you got to look at it. What are you willing to, what are you willing to give up to have love? You can have a whole healthy relationship and you got, what you want, 75% of what you want, and you have a healthy building relationship, or would you rather sit around 100% and then end up in the Golden Girl retreat because you won't ever get married?
Oh. Okay. Okay, well, brother Carl, you see the sisters nodding, the Golden Girl retreat, Well, valid points you stated, my brother, man. Just to piggyback off of what you were saying, and for some based on there, I want to just touch a little bit on the upbringing. So many people have been so conditioned that it's either their way or the highway, or they may have seen their caretakers or parents spend in those type of relationships. Now, just to flip it, for those who overextend themselves, or do you think compromising yourself way too much can lead to abuse? And I'll put that question to you first, Carl, and then I'll ask our sisters.
Are you talking about if you compromise too much, you become abuse because of what people have seen? Right. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Right. And that's why if you're and that's what'll happen. And again, if you have unhealthy boundaries and you've seen unhealthy relationships, and that's your targeting, of course you're going to put yourself in that predicament. And this is why we talk about a lot of people need to heal from childhood trauma. They need to heal from the trauma of childhood trauma, meaning their parents could have traumatized them. Different things could happen to them. Different things seen. So they need to heal from that really before they really even start having serious relationships. And then understanding core values. What are your baseline core values and characteristic things that you're looking for, and don't move off of those. Because if you're moving off of it because she's, as a man, if you're moving off of it because she's, like BBD said, never fall for a big butt and a smile. If that's what you're doing, you're gonna be in trouble. You can't be doing that just because she can have all of that and no core values. Now you compromise, and then now you crying because she didn't took you to the cleaners. That's on you.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I agree. So yes, growing up a certain way can contribute to that. But that becomes the self-aware part. At some point in time, you have to grow up, and that's why I said if you keep having the same issues, you got to take a step back out the dating arena. And that's another thing we talked about that on another show one time. I don't think people take enough time between relationships and they jump back out there and they end up compromising the wrong way because they're so desperate to get back into another relationship.
Okay. Very well said. Appreciate that. You're all right. I mean, if you keep on going through the motion, you are the common denominator. Very well said, Carl. Namaste. What is your input on this? I mean, do you think that can have some sort of degree affect your adulthood if that's all you've been brought up with?
Yeah, yeah. With my clients and the women and the men that I work with, I definitely see that their upbringing informs upon how they date, who they date, um, with my single clients, and then how they are even in their marital relationships. And so, that is a big deal. So, yes, I agree with Carl in the sense that, it begins with understanding your fundamental values and really knowing not only your values, but the other values that you appreciate. So you may have values that's not as much of a value for you, but it's a value that you still appreciate in another person. And so when you understand that, then you can go on and move from that into looking at what we call your limiting beliefs. And a lot of things that what everyone's talking about as far as compromise, those are going to be things that are often rooted in a limiting belief in some way. So for instance, I might have a client who says, I only want to date people who are the same race as I am. And I'll ask that client, why? Because what I'm looking for is to see, is that a core value of yours and you really, really deeply thought about it and you felt into it and there are certain things that are just core to you that you require? Or is it rooted in a limiting belief because you assume that only someone who has the same amount of melanin as you could possibly understand you? And so those things that are rooted in limiting beliefs then limit love. And so those are the things that you want to unpack and really look at, because sometimes we're calling those things, well, that's just the way I am, but it's actually just a program that you're running.
Wow. Okay. Class definitely in session. Very well said, my sister. Very, very well said. And thank you for your input, because may I add, this is why it's so important to vet your potential future partner, because some people's values may not align with yours. So
Exactly.
if you do compromise your authentic self, such as your values and your true beliefs, just to please your partner, then yes, you are going to have situationships. They're not going to be relationships. They may even be even worse off. You may get yourself into or become emotionally attached to someone that's abusive, and that's why it's so important to, like, before you get out in the dating arena, to really figure out who you are and know what you want. Latoya, what advice you have for those looking for a healthy relationship to never compromise their core values? They still want it, but they just, how do they break that cycle, per se? I'll say.
I was still thinking about something that Carl said.
The
Because
golden retreat?
No. About the blue collar versus white collar jobs. But I think women, especially single women, we are made to feel like we need to compromise when it comes to certain things outside of characteristics, I will just say, or core values. And I don't, it's tricky because I don't always agree, but I also understand numbers and the statistics and what it is. So I first just wanted to say that because I think women, single women, especially single Black women, hear that a lot. So I just needed to go back and just wanted to make a comment about that, because I don't always agree with some of the things that we are made to feel that we need to compromise. But going back to your question, Tramel, about healthy relationships, and I'm sorry, can you repeat it again? Because Carl's comment really just shifted me. You hear it and you see it everywhere on social media, just because we are high numbers and being single in certain age groups, that there is an expectation that we need to compromise more. And I don't think that is fair or right to us.
Okay. No, I think you kind of did answer my question. I was asking, what advice you have for those that all their life, they pretty much every relationship, they always were the dominant one, and they never, when conflict arises, is either their way or the highway. But now they figure, hey, they read articles, they they have healthy relationships around them. They see how other people are moving and they're successful in their relationships. But what advice you have for those that desire healthy relationship, but they were so used to always in the past getting in their way all the time? How do they change? What mindset will you have to have them start with to change their mindset?
I think doing some self-reflection work. I will agree with something Carl said about when you're the common denominator on things, you do have to start looking inward. And I had to do a lot of that work
Gotcha.
because I realized I was continued to date the same type of people when I was younger. And so self-reflection exercise could even be just journaling, looking at patterns throughout your life, themes, those type of things could be really helpful.
Okay. I like how you stated, which we'll go further into our second topic, but to identify the pattern and break that pattern, that's very important. So listen, the DBDS family, they are commenting. We have to get them involved into the conversation. So I'm gonna some few comments already. Thank you all for tuning in on this gorgeous Sunday. I mean, I don't know if you guys at the beach on your phone looking at the show, but we appreciate it. First comment on the screen here.
All right. Yeah, from Shantae, she said hello.
Okay. Hello, Shantae. Thank you for tuning in. And let's see what else my sister has to say.
She said, "Saucy Spice, intellectual sniper."
Okay, appreciate that.
That's mine. Very nominal.
Okay. That's one of my students.
Okay.
Thank you, Chantel, for tuning in. Appreciate that. Okay.
Greetings.
Greetings. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go on right here.
Perfect people don't exist. You're not perfect. Your partner won't be either. You won't even be perfect for each other, but you'll come as close as you can. The rest compromise. Who isn't happy to compromise a little for someone they love?
Very well said. Thank you, anonymous poster. Next one.
If you think you will ever find someone who you never have to compromise yourself for, you're a dreamer. That ideal mate isn't out there, and the sooner people figure that out, the better. More topics like this, please, and a special shout out to the vibrant sisters you have on your show today.
Oh, okay. Thank you again. And I'm going to take just for time's sake, I'm going to take one more comment.
I had a potential partner that actually guilt tripped me for refusing to compromise on something. I take that as a red flag. Now I'm in no contact and focusing on myself, my healing, and my well-being. I'm starting to think that I perhaps have dodged a bullet, but thank you for breaking down the meaning of compromising in love, and to those you should not compromise with.
Okay. Thank you all for tuning in. Big clap for the people here. So listen, we are going to take a quick commercial break. Do not go anywhere. This is an amazing discussion. Sit tight. This is DBDS Live. Welcome back, my DBDS family. I am here with my sisters. But actually, I'm going to call them my DBDS sisters. Namaste, my DBDS sister, Latoya Watson, and my DBDS brother, Carl, the accountability coach. And we are talking about what are you willing to change to have your ideal relationship. So, and by the way, StreamYard, come on, let's get it together, StreamYard. Let's get it together. So we're going to go ahead and touch on our second topic. And the second topic is your willingness to date outside your comfort zone. We were just touching on this just a little, but now we're going to dive deep into this one right here. So, and I can't wait till we dive into this topic, because many may wonder why I keep on winding up in the same relationship, or why I often repeatedly choose similar partners, which ends up with the same results. And Namaste, Carl, Latoya, I thought about this a lot, and I truly believe that part of the reason why is because their positive qualities complement our own, but also their negative traits fit ours as well. And I feel like most of the times we stay in that same pattern, and that simply means being highly attracted to someone which is not our choice, but entertaining someone which is our choice. And most of the times we are entertaining the wrong people, because we're not vetting properly. We go by the six pack, or how deep a man's voice is, or how curvy her body is, or how much money he has. And those things are not sustainable traits for a healthy relationship. And I think that's why the key thing is to vet. But before you can vet, you have to look in the mirror, take a deep look at yourself and all the histories of your past relationships, and do a thorough analysis, which I had to do myself, because you want to be willing to learn to understand the difference between sustainable traits and non-sustainable traits. And once you do the work, you'll begin to learn to balance your logic and emotions, I think, which will push you to meet a quality person and to come across someone that is more compatible with you, not just based off of chemistry, but one that's compatible with you. So, Latoya, what are other ways a person can break their pattern, and what changes can they make to date beyond their comfort zone?
This is interesting, and I'll be very transparent and say it is not always easy for me to compromise. And it is something that I had to work on, and I really had to figure out what works best, where I don't feel like I'm betraying my authentic self and my desires, my values, and also looking at am I having unrealistic expectations, right? It's a very challenging process, I think, especially nowadays.
I agree.
In the dating streets, as a single person. Again, I'm going to say it's very different. And I think partly why I made the comment before, there's certain things that I agree with when it comes to compromising, is because I really think ultimately it depends on your heart posture. Like, is your heart in the right place? What's the ulterior motive? What's the reason behind, for example, wanting to, I'll just put out there, wanting to date someone who makes over 6 figures, right? So I had to call the elephant out in the room, because Carl started it with his point about the white collar versus blue collar comment. So anyways, willing stepping out of your comfort zone. I think, again, I really want to validate that it is not an easy process, and it does take a certain level of self-awareness and accountability, and really reflecting on things like, is this a realistic expectation? Is this unrealistic? It's tough. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I really wanted to put that out there.
No, you absolutely did. And first off, I want to thank you and everyone that's vulnerable on this channel. I know that takes a lot, and I just we appreciate it, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and be vulnerable for for a second as well. My wife, you know, very beautiful woman, inside and out. And before meeting me, she was so used to dating men with a certain physique, like that boxer type physique, muscles and everything like that. So she was so used to these guys whining and dining her, And then she came across a skinny guy with a little bit of acne on his face with an afro. And that skinny guy with afro acne was me. And our first date, I didn't wine and dine her. It wasn't no $200 or $500, whatever the case may be. But, I say the story over and over again. We walked downtown Middletown for 2 hours with a Subway sandwich, talking about everything, what she's passionate about and everything. And she said what was attractive about it was that I seen beyond her looks. I was valuing her character, her as a person. I was valuing her value. She told me straight up that she's not a type of woman that's into the friends with benefits. And that made me gravitate towards her more because of her she wasn't compromising her authentic self. And I think that's what brought us together was the simple fact of those two aspects. But it is a tricky slope, I have to say. I mean, it really is. So I can definitely relate to you, Latoya. But I just think as long as you authentic and you stay true to who you are, my wife is a testament. You definitely will come across definitely a suitable partner, because you never know what's in that box when you unwrap it. Again, I wasn't that physique. I didn't have the most flyest ride, and now to this day we build a life together. We have a home, we have family and everything like that. It was all because she changed her mindset and wanted to date someone different, and she got everything she wanted. So I just wanted to share that story. Carl, no, first I just got sidetracked. Namaste, Latoya. Carl, I'm also used to seeing you next to me on the top. That's why I was like.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That's cool. Yeah.
Namaste is the co-host right now. Okay. But Carl, man, I want to come to you. What are your thoughts on this particular topic?
You have to, like I said that, like the height thing I was saying, when you compromise on certain stuff, willing to come out that comfort zone of what you're used to. But I always tell people like this, I'm gonna keep it real. Attraction matters. I know people will say, you see all these different posts out there, stuff. Health matters. So those are things I'm not going to compromise on. So I just, people can say, oh, you're going to miss out if cheese. No, I'm not missing out. Health and is one thing I will never compromise or come out my comfort zone on because of what I am as a person and who I am as a person, what I do. The flip side is, like I said, but are you willing to take long distance? May you have to take care of your comfort zone. If you're in a city and you're constantly running into the same type of people and you're not finding somebody, are you willing to date long distance? Are you willing to come out your comfort zone? You might have only dated red bones. Are you willing to date a brown or dark skinned sister, or a brown or dark? You know what I'm saying? Are you willing to and like I said, date somebody who, we can talk to white collar, blue collar, and again, because there are blue collar workers that make six figures, but again, it's still only I think it's like 14%, 7% of people make six figures. So I don't know where the mindset everybody wants six figures, because everybody ain't making six figures. I would love to see if I post their tax return so we can have this conversation for real. But you're looking at these different things. We get six-figure families, and people will start merging themselves together with the right partner. That's what we get at, but that's a whole that's another show. Comfort zone. Would you date a vegan? Even though you eat meat, if you're a vegan, would you date somebody that still eats some types of meat? So there's all these different things that you look at. What are you willing to come out of your comfort zone to find somebody that's willing to do these things? Would you date somebody if your standard's been, I'm not dating anybody with kids? Would you date someone with kids? Men or women, right. or what's that? What's your mindset on that? So I think that's the comfort zone you really have to look at. Is your comfort zone, is that because everything I'm gonna end it with this: for everything that you put up as a standard or requirement, it shrinks your box of choices. So if you're saying 6 feet, 6 figures, 6-pack, I won't say the other 6. If you're looking for that, and we start looking at numbers, you're reducing your box, your window of opportunity to date. If you're looking at just that, if you're looking for a woman who may say you want a stay-at-home wife, and she's not, but she wants to still have some type of career, you're shrinking your window with those types of things. So everything we have to think about as people. For everything we put on paper that we desire in our mate, our future mate, Google those results. 14.7% of the men in the world over 6 feet. 3.7 over 6'4" in the world over 6 feet. The average black man makes $50,000 a year. The average black woman makes $38,000 a year.
Facts.
Those are real numbers. Those are numbers you look up. U.S. Department of Labor, U.S. Census. I just pulled it. Black women married at 38.7% on the last census. Black women are married at 23.8%. Those are numbers. Look it up. So when we're looking at certain things, you think, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. And you're unwilling to compromise or come out of comfort zone in a certain area, you're shrinking your box. And then if you live in a city that dating is bad, or there's a small city, think about how small your numbers are even more. So, but I can go on and on it. That's a whole show.
No, I appreciate. No, I appreciate you bringing the math and everything in, because when I see these conversations on social media, it just everything is coming from an emotional aspect. But when you do research, you can see these figures, and it kind of brings the top to a whole nother level. So thank you for sharing it. Namaste, when it comes to you pertaining to this, this is an amazing topic. What are your thoughts about this? Your willingness to date outside comfort zone. Do you find challenging these days? Do you think, what's your thoughts?
No, the people that I am honored and privileged to work with, they come to me because they know that what they've been doing hasn't worked, and they want to find a thing that does. And so in the process of that, one of the things that I kind of want to bring in that I haven't seen brought in is how do you, as we are talking about how you figure out what you're willing to do that's outside of your comfort zone. I think that when we honor the differences and the distinctions between men and women, we can find those areas easier. So what I tell, I'm always going to give the same counsel that I give to the people that I love and the people that I work with, which is this: women look for what opens my capacity to respect, and men should look at what opens my capacity to appreciate or love. And so when you're looking at that and you blend that with the idea of compromise, or the idea of what am I willing to do that's different than what I've been doing, what you just ask yourself is, okay, now is this thing that I'm saying I must have, is that a requirement as a gentleman? Is that a requirement for me to feel like I love her? Is that a requirement for my heart to open up in love to this woman? If she is not that way, I will not feel a sense of love, protection, provision, all of those things towards her. That is something that you should keep on your list. If it's something that it wouldn't, then you should probably remove it. And the same thing in a different way is true for women. So if a woman feels that if he does not make significantly more than me and he cannot provide for me, I will not be able to offer him consistent respect, then she should keep that on her list. If she feels like, no, I'd like to have it because I like pretty things, but if he can't, I'm good, then she can remove it. It's up to where she feels like is going to create the biggest opportunity for that respect and appreciation between the two of them. And the beauty of that is if you do that work when you're dating, then you won't need to compromise as much once you get into the marriage.
Okay. Very well said. I like that. And may I add, my sisters and those that are watching. So I know those find it very challenging these days because everything in modern society, everyone, it seems like they're following trend. And I have spoken, and I know some sisters who are more traditional, where they prefer to. Some sisters prefer to take their time to get to know someone, but these days, core values may be in line with today's modern society because everything is so. I think it's real. Everything is so overly sexualized. It's something that being promiscuous is the best way to find that special partner. And to be honest, I barely don't. There's no discretion anymore because, listen, I'm surprised the strip clubs are still open. I'm surprised they're still in business because you just literally go online and it just the art of discretion is thrown out window. And for me, growing up, me personally, I always prefer a more conservative woman. Less is more, and but to those sisters out there, they feel like almost hope is lost. They feel like they are a quality woman and they're having a significant hard time coming across quality men. So I'll piggyback to you and say, what advice you have for those particular sisters out there?
Yeah, so I'm glad you did, because it leads to something that I think is really important, which is the prioritization. So what I tell those women is prioritize what is important to you. So what is the most important thing? Well, the most important thing for many of the women that come to me is I want a man who wants to get married. I don't want to get with a man and hope that one day he will make the choice. I want a man who is looking for a wife.
Right.
And when they say that, I'm like, great, you're in the right place. And I tell them to then make that one of the biggest priorities. So if you're on a dating website, if you're on any place, have that as one of the biggest things. They have, what do you want? Friends with benefits, dating casually, serious relationship or marriage. Don't hesitate to put marriage on there if that's what you desire. Why? Because then you're going to attract men who are like, that's what I want too. If you put something else because you think that you can't have what you desire, you can't have that is going to light your heart up, then don't be surprised when the universe gives you something else because you don't believe in it. So I believe in leading with what you really do desire, leaning into that. And I appreciate my brother Carl and the statistics. I definitely post statistics as well to those who I teach and counsel and coach. And I also say, but you only need one. Like you're not looking for hundreds of thousands or millions of people. You're only looking for, on this great, beautiful planet, one match that matches you to like 5 or 6 decimal places so you can get on with living your life in a happy way together, right? So don't be afraid of like, I'm too much. And, that's a very personal thing for me because I used to feel like I was a woman who was too much. This is my second marriage. My first marriage, I was married for 10 years. And I felt like with my ex-husband, I was too much. I was too smart, too big. I wanted too much out of life. I wanted to do too much. I loved too hard, all of these things. And when that relationship ended, what I realized was that it wasn't just about who I attract, it's also who I'm attracted to. And so when I looked at that and said, well, why am I attracted to a man for whom my authentic self is too much? He deserves to be with a woman who her authentic self meets him in his masculine. And I need to be with a man who, when he sees all that I am, it lights him up. It like sets his soul on fire. And that's what I literally leaned into. And yes, I did get the 6'6" ex-defensive lineman making over 6 figures, even though I came into the marriage with 4 children from my former marriage. So I do believe, I agree with you, Carl, in the sense that sometimes we're being unreasonable, but I also know from personal experience that if it's in your heart to desire it, God put that desire there, and you should feel like you can have it.
Okay,
So.
very well said. Appreciate that. And we're almost out of time, but I want to come back to you, Latoya. I mean, to the sisters that are having a hard time out there, and not just the sisters. I'm going to also mention the men, because there's a lot of good brothers out there. We can't leave them out the conversation. But yet they feel that some of these women that want the six figures and everything desire, at the same time, they don't have characteristics of that at all. So, Latoya, what advice you have for both of those spectrums, that can, not just the women but also men as well? Because honestly, I was one of those guys until I came. I mean, I just struggled, you know. What is your advice?
You're hearing me, right?
Yes. You know, we roll with the
Okay.
punches here. Go ahead.
I have to say, I have to bring in faith into it. I really don't think either men or women are going to get what they truly desire, what they are looking for, without God being in it. I really don't. And again, going back to Carl's statistics, those numbers are real. And so we can't, I don't want to minimize that, but I also understand my faith and my relationship with God. And so that is my advice: prayer, fasting. I really I tell women it's going to take a miracle. When you look at those numbers, when you look at our statistics and how often, especially Black people, are getting divorced, and how often, even the numbers, the statistics at how rare we are getting married or how they are lasting, it is only going to be God. There's no other explanation, in my opinion, in order to get your list. And I don't want to say your list, right? But think that the qualities that you're looking for, even the characteristics that you're looking for. I made a reel maybe a month or two ago about like all these characteristics that I see in men with strong characters who are men of God, and they are very rare. And it is only going to be God that I'm able to have these connections or even meet them. So yeah, that is my advice. I don't think it's going to happen by chance or coincidence. I really don't.
Okay, very well said. Appreciate that. All right. Well, before I come back to you, Carl, you see, my whole belief and value, especially everything that I share with the audience, I always truly believe that is always character first. And, you know, I personally believe that, yes, you should not compromise your authentic self, but sometimes you have to unlearn what you have learned. Sometimes you have to realize, where did you get those values and beliefs from? If you got your values and beliefs from watching a celebrity or trying to keep up with the Jones, then yes, you may have a mindset that I want a six-figure man, or the brother may have a value that I only want an eye candy on my arm without looking into that substance. And you know, the reason why I brought that up, and I like how Carl stated. By the way, I appreciate him sharing the statistics, but also what I like about men that are good brothers out there, and this is for the brothers out there. Listen, purpose always comes first before anything. I think a man's purpose is the most important thing. That's even more important than the relationship he has with that woman. Because not to say that the sister is not prioritized at the top of that list, but the right woman will encourage that man to remain on this purpose. I read a story about Denzel Washington and Pauletta Washington. And this brother at the beginning, and this is for the sisters out there that are just, again, just kind of just thinking about the six-figure man at point. But this man at the beginning did not have all the money that he has now. This brother was a struggling actor, going to different theaters and everything like that. But one thing, his woman at the time, who made way more money than Denzel Washington, she respected the fact that this brother was productive and he was staying on his grind and he was staying on his purpose. And now look at him. Now they have a life that they build together.
Mhm.
I think a lot of I'm speaking from the brother side of things. I think a lot of women just want the finished project. They don't want to take the time to build with the man. And I think that's a huge problem in today's society. That's why I always state that you cannot get everything in life you deserve. You get what you like, you negotiate. You know, if you want a man that is masculine, then sometimes you have to look at who you are as a woman. Are you classy? Are you respectful? Are you a very appreciative woman? And so forth. You know, so I think those things come into play as well. But I'm gonna come to Carl, and I would like for him to, you know, because the sisters, they nod in their head and agree with you, brother. But I just want you to elaborate if you want to add anything else to this topic.
Yeah, no, I just say this real quick, you know, and see, and again, for me with data with people, I agree with both of what Namaste and Tori were saying. You've got to have faith. But you got to do the work. You know, you can't sit there and say, I want a man making six figures, and then you're sitting around doing stuff. And again, things happen. Just because it happens to a few people doesn't mean it's the norm. You know, it's not the norm. It is abnormal. So some people run into what we call a unicorn situation. And sometimes you know better in time versus the first time. And I saw that, Latoya. But that's why I look at it from how we do things and deal with stuff in life. You know, so a lot of people, even for men, you know, if you're sitting there looking for a woman that's fit and feminine and loving and nurturing, you know, are you a man that's masculine, fit? You know, do you bring a spirit to her to allow her to be nurturing, or do you bring an argumentative and aggressive, controlling spirit to her, and she can't be that way? So because I always say the right woman with the right man will increase his network 4 times. I can't remember the book that it was in, but it's a true statement. So when you're dealing with those types of things, and I think so that's why I say we need to. The problem today is too many people are looking for sponsorships instead of partnerships. You know, and then the world of social media has people in this dynamic that, you know, like they had this nurse. I'll say this with this. I know we're running late time, but they had the nurse. Oh, she's not. I'm sorry, she wasn't a nurse. She's a doctor. Came home. She's cooking dinner for her husband after 13-hour day, and it's like this is something he you know he's expected. Now, word on play, you know, clickbait, how they do things, but nobody researches. So immediately the attack is, oh, I'm not cooking for no man. If he's lazy and sitting at home, blah 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 blah, all these other stuff. The problem was most of the comments coming from single women. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it real. Then all the negative comments come from single women. Just looking at it. The problem was when you research and look at it, he's a surgeon. He works as many hours as she does, sometimes more. They work together, but when she finished cooking, he cleans up the kitchen and he washes all the dishes. There's your see, nobody's all people saw was her cooking for this man. Oh, I wish I would cook for some man after that. I wish I would do this. And you go to their page and you look and say, yeah, but man, you ain't got no husband. You ain't got no ring. She got a ring on her. They're both doctors. They're in the top. Like I said, when you look at the marriage numbers, she's in that position of 23% of Black women that are married. And then they're in the top 20% of income, what they make, because they're a partnership. And it's not a sponsorship, but it was amazing the attack on her. I would say you have a lot of women who will get called pick. Well, because I want to cook for my husband. You know, I don't mind doing. I don't mind staying home, making sure he's ready. You know, just get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they'll call them pick me's. But I always try to tell them, I said, the pick me's are getting picked. So what you need to look at is why you're getting picked over. That's what you need to look at. You need to look at why you're getting picked over. Nobody's picking you, but you crying about pick me's. There's a big difference between pick me's and sin. But you getting picked over, might need to take a look. You may need to go talk to the pick me's.
Oof.
Okay.
I'm done.
I mean, it's a free for all. Anybody want to just jump in? It's a free for all.
I love it. I love what you just said. I love what you just said. I've actually been called a pick me. So I resemble that remark. I have definitely been called that because I do. I cook for my husband. I love that man. I love him so much. you know, and I am proudly and happily a surrendered wife. You know, he leads, I follow, you know, but I chose a man that I wanted to follow. So, you know, we're good. and
Right.
you know, so, you know, I get it. And I think that it's sad that women who are happy in love are oftentimes the way that they express their love is often demonized by other women. So to cause a sense of shame or like she's being disempowered because of that, which I'm like, nobody could look at me and think that I wasn't powerful. I'm obviously powerful. I do it because I love him and because I desire to it. It makes me happy, you know?
That's
And so I
up.
want women to feel comfortable
Mm.
with expressing love instead of always feeling like they need to show how powerful they are. How about we
Thank
lead
you,
with
Miss
love a
Lister.
little bit more?
I
Yeah,
love
I
that,
love
man.
it.
Whew. You know, April, she cooks for me breakfast, lunch, dinner every night. Not because it's a chore, but because she loves to do it. And me, I like to go out there and provide and do whatever it takes. It's not because it's because I love to do it. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
the more masculine I am, the more feminine she is. It's just this
Mm-hmm.
circle, you know, this healthy circle we do. We have to do a part 2.
Yes, it's fun.
Because this is such a great conversation, and I think this is much needed because I always wonder what does pick me means. Like this is what I love about our people, because we're the ones that come up with these terms. We come up with so many terms that they have to make a slang dictionary after us. You know, we're just so creative. Struggle
Yeah.
love, pick me's. I think even the term baby daddy came from us. I don't know. All these terms came from us. You know.
Yeah, give
So listen.
me a pick me any day, and it's not, you know. And I tell people, there's a difference between pick me's and simps. You know, simps are these dudes out here in the inbox, all this stuff for the woman, and they have no opportunity. This woman is giving them no play, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just
Mm-hmm.
going at it, and they just, you know, that's stuff they're just going to keep doing and doing and doing. Doesn't want them. That's the difference. You know, people say simps and pick me's are the same. No, they're not. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
literally a woman who is looking for a relationship. She doesn't have a problem. Not best. You chose a man that you were willing to follow. You said, "Hey, that man can lead me, and so if he's leading me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And why are they demonized? Like I said, why wouldn't demon willing to say, "I'm going to cook for my man. I'm going to bring him lunch at his job, even if I work." Even if I'm doing something, I'm still going to see fit that he's doing it because he's leading the household. And that's the problem we have in our community. And like I said, there's too many people looking for sponsorships. There's too many people selfish. And there's too many people that glorify. Like I said, how do you show called Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Basketball Wives, and nobody married? Who married? What wives? Ex-wives. Yeah, they not married. So this is what gravitating to and following, and they think it's real, you know, and then they look at social media and everybody wants to chase the bag, everybody will be independent instead of interdependent, and it's just messing up the relationship world dynamic that we have, especially within our culture, you know. And like I said, we can talk about this for hours on hours, but it really is. And like I said, highest divorce rate in our culture,
Yeah, I know.
and we lowest marriage rate, you know, and the lowest birth. So we're literally extincting ourselves, and we're not, and because everybody's worried about whether she's a pick me or not.
Wow. Well, man, this is you know, we're gonna bring the audience in. Listen, we know we went over, but we want to thank everyone for joining. We still got people still constantly joining in, so I'm still gonna go to the comments because such a we appreciate you coming on board. So the first comment that I'll come to is this one. I'll take a couple.
Hello, DBDS. My first love became a doctor. My second love I met in college became a doctor. Plus, my ex-wife was also a doctor. I never went looking for doctors. Now dealing with someone with a biology degree, but she's an immigrant and currently is trying to go to school while doing a retail job. I find that she's more compatible with my previous relationships. It's different, but I'm loving it.
There you go. Next comment here.
I stopped having a type after being burned by my type 4 times.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes.
Definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and
Same
over.
thing over and over.
Oh, from boy to go brother boy. He said, wow, I can't believe I heard that.
Okay. Please elaborate, brother. What did you hear? Okay. Next one.
What's that? Yes, I'm
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I got that. Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Greetings, everybody. Okay. Yeah.
Greetings. Appreciate that. Okay. And one more comment.
Love you all.
Thank you all.
All right. This is perfect. So we're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, it's about that time for our Jerry Springer moment. So sit tight. Don't go anywhere. This is DBDS Live. Now, StreamYard, let's get these commercials going. Come on.
We talk all the time, and really, man, I just give much love and appreciation to you for founding DBDS and starting it, man, because it's not normal. There's so much banter back and forth, and just like you and I talked about earlier, before we got on, who's going to raise the white flag first?
Hey!
Hi,
Beautiful.
Hi, I'm so excited. This is my first Queen takeover. Usually I'm in with the fellas, but I'm excited today.
So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Mel, take it away.
Mel.
Welcome back, my classy people, to the DBDS Live show. I'm here with my DBDS sisters, Namaste, my DBDS sister, Latoya Watson, and my right-hand man, Carl, the accountability coach. And we've been talking about what are you willing to change to have your ideal relationships. And by the way, this was such an amazing topic. I did not want it to end at all. Matter of fact, I'm going to put up some music right quick. And listen, if you missed this show, don't worry, you can catch us on the Pure Moment Network, which I'll put in the bottom left-hand corner. Now, the Pure Moment Network is a new network that just came about. My brother Hazardous, he's the one that owns the network. But all you got to do is just type in DBDS Live, and guess what? You'll see Namaste, Carl, and Latoya live on High Definition TV. So make sure you check out the network. And shout out to Hazardous for his network. Second, if you missed this show, you can also listen to us on Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Anchor Podcasts, you name it. We're everywhere. So if you happen to be working out at the gym, please go check out DBDS Live so you can hear these amazing conversations. But right now, it's about that time. It is our Jerry Springer moment. And first, I am coming to my sister Namaste. Give the people who's watching your final thoughts for today's show.
Absolutely. I believe that it is important as you are dating, as you are forming a relationship, as you are in a marriage, that you remember that it's really about love. Fundamentally, it's about love over everything. So find the person that you love, make them your favorite person, and get busy with creating your legendary love and your love of a lifetime.
All right. I love that. And next, I'm coming to my sister, Latoya. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Wow, my final thought I have a lot to say, but my main takeaways that I want men and women to walk away with is work on yourself, really do the work, look for themes, really try to self-reflect, really try to take accountability and seek God. Seek God. I really think doing those two things together, God will match you with the person that you were supposed to be with and get married with.
I love that. Amen, my sister. Very well said. And next, I'm coming to my brother Carl. As always, what an amazing show. Latoya, Namaste. Nothing but gems, nothing but fire, man. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Man, I'll tell you, absolutely. Yeah, it's one, like I said, one of these shows we could have gone on and on with. I appreciate both our sisters on here. I appreciate everything you guys shared. Yeah, my final thought is really just, again, look at your list, think about it, on the compromise side of things. Look at your, well, I should just say, out your comfort zone. Look at the list that you have on there and look at how, whether you're boxing yourself in or not. And again, I'm not telling you to give up your desires. I'm not telling you to walk away from those things. Definitely look at it and just make sure it's realistic in what you're asking for. And if it is, go for it. You got to go for it, and you got to put the work in it. And you can't sit back and just say, I'm waiting on the man to find me, but you don't go out where. So I always say, so that means he's either going to be an Amazon man, the mailman, or he's going to break into your house. I mean, if you don't leave the house, those are things you got to about. Even this man, do the work. Make sure you stay on your purpose. And I leave this for guys. If you're with someone and you're being distracted from your purpose, that's somebody you definitely don't need to step out your comfort zone or compromise with, because your purpose is important. If you lose your purpose, you lose your value as a man. With that, but yeah, definitely, like I said, look at your list, have fun, go out, do the work, enjoy yourself, and but you have to put yourself out there to be found. If you stay shallow, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, God's hiding." He's not hiding. You just, you want something. Faith without works is dead. So unless you want to end up that way, go out, enjoy yourself, have fun, go find your list.
All right. And man, fire as always, man. Appreciate that. And before I provide everyone with my final thoughts, just want to thank this amazing panel. Again, we will not be on next Sunday. Right now, we are taking a little hiatus, a little break. But when we do come back, we're going to still touch on some amazing topics. We're going to have the next Queen Takeover, the next King Takeover, you name it. So my final thoughts for today's show was that if you're willing to change your mindset based on what we discussed today, and this shows a level of growth, and this will also help you to unravel other traits about yourself that you need to work on. But first, I just want to clarify that compromising from a place of love means you're not compromising your core values, but instead, it's about making changes based on a partner's experience, needs, and perspective, and vice versa. It's all about balance and looking for a solution that both parties end up benefiting from. And next, dating outside of your comfort zone is all about taking the risk, not minimizing attraction, but making sure you are looking at sustainable traits to see if you're both compatible. In other words, if you're not allowing your emotions to override your logic and adapt this mindset, you'll have a better insight whether this person is someone you can build with and possibly see a future with. All right. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, Mel.